The world says I should be angry, that I should be shaking my fist at God. I didn't think at 38 I'd be battling cancer, but I am. And so I need to find contentment in that place. I want to be able to share this story, that suffering isn't a mistake and it isn't the absence of God's goodness, because he's present in pain.
Never when I was growing up did I think I'd be spending my life in a wheelchair as a quadriplegic, but all that changed on a hot summer day in 1967 when I went swimming with my sister Kathy in the Chesapeake Bay. We were going to different colleges. We thought we'd have a sisterly fling together, and I swam out to this raft that was anchored pretty far offshore and hoisted myself up onto it and really didn't check the depth of the water, took a reckless dive into what ended up being extremely shallow water, and I hit my forehead on the sandy bottom and it snapped my head back and crushed my fifth cervical vertebrae, which left me lying face down in the water, paralyzed, unable to move. And I remember thinking in my head, oh, Kathy, please see me, find me, because I knew I was going to drown if someone didn't rescue me, but her back was turned to me. She didn't even see me take that dive. But at that point, right as she was ready to leave the water to walk up onto the beach to the towel, a crab bit her toe. And it so startled her that she whirled around in the corner to scream at me to watch out for crabs. And when she did, she saw my blonde hair kind of like floating on the surface of the water, which was so odd because the night before, on a whim, I had gone to the drugstore and bought a bottle of Nice and Easy Midnight Summer Blonde hair color. Up until then, I was a mousy, kind of brownish, blondish, but she saw the shock of peroxided hair, and it immediately got her attention. She came swimming after me, pulled me up, and I'm gasping and sputtering. And I thought I was saved, but when I saw my arm slung over my sister's shoulder, and yet I couldn't feel it, it was frightening. It was macabre. It was like, whose appendage is this? It was my arm. And I knew right then something awful had happened. And when the doctors told me at the hospital that I'd severed my spinal cord and would be a quadriplegic for the rest of my life, I just sank into depression. I just plummeted into the depths of hellish despair. I couldn't face living life like without using my hands or legs. After a couple of months, when I was going to occupational therapy in the hospital, my OT suggested that since I was somewhat of an artist, that I draw something to represent my feelings. And so I drew this charcoal sketch of me. And what I wanted to convey in this drawing is, oh God, this is now my life. I've got to do this. I can't do this. How can you expect me to do this? But you know, over 50 years of quadriplegia, I've learned that it's not just my portrait, it's everybody's portrait. We all at one time or another wonder, how are we going to do this? Oh God, I can't do this. But those become the encounters where we meet the Almighty in a place we never dreamed imaginable, and discover that we really can smile again.